The assembly will come back to order. The chief clerk of the assembly will call the assembly roll.
Assemblywoman Anderson, Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Bilber Axelrod, Assemblywoman Black, Assemblywoman Brown May, Assemblywoman Carlton, Assemblywoman Cohen, Assemblywoman Considine, Assemblywoman Dickman, Assemblywoman Duran, Assemblyman Ellison, Assemblyman Flores, Assemblywoman Gonzalez, Assemblywoman Gorlo, Assemblyman Hathan, Assemblywoman Hanson, Assemblywoman Hardy, Assemblywoman Howdigi, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Levitt, Assemblywoman Martinez, Assemblywoman Marzola, Assemblyman Matthews, Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblywoman Brittany Miller, Assemblyman C.H. Miller, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, Assemblywoman Wynn, Assemblyman O'Neill, Assemblyman Orlicker, Assemblywoman Peters, Assemblyman Roberts, Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Titus, Assemblywoman Tolles, Assemblywoman Torres, Assemblyman Watts, Assemblyman Wheeler, Assemblyman Yeager, Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black, Assemblywoman Carlton, Assemblywoman Dickman, Assemblywoman Hanson, Assemblywoman Howdigi, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, Assemblywoman Peters, Speaker Frierson.
Here, there is a quorum. Has the Senate already done their roll? The assembly will stand at ease till the Senate has taken roll. The Assembly will come back to order. There is a quorum, and we will now hear messages from Senators Catherine Cortez Masto and Jackie Rosen, followed by a message from Congresswoman Susie Lee. We look forward to hearing their messages.
Hello. I want to thank you all for the important work that you're doing right now. Nevadans have had an incredibly difficult year, facing a once-in-a-century pandemic that kept our families apart and hurt our small businesses. But they've had allies they can depend on in you. And I have been so proud to work alongside you as a partner to help Nevada weather the storm. The stakes have never been higher, and we still have a lot of work to do, so I'll be brief. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, I've worked hard to make sure that everything happening on the federal level benefits Nevada. I've depended on outreach from our constituents and advice from so many of you. We all saw what happened to our state in the wake of the mortgage crisis. I know that to protect Nevada families and speed our recovery from an economic downturn, we need to act quickly and decisively, and we need to work together. The pandemic's impact has been historic, and our response had to be historic as well. When Nevadans were first told to shelter in place, I worked across the aisle in the Republican-controlled Senate to take bold action and help keep our businesses afloat. We passed the CARES Act, and we secured additional funding for the Paycheck Protection Program, which helped people like Juan Vasquez in Las Vegas. His beloved restaurant, Juan's Flaming Fajitas, was able to stay open and keep its workers on the payroll because my colleagues and I teamed up to help our economy bounce back. But Nevada still needed more help. And I was incredibly proud to help deliver a Democratic Senate majority to help President Joe Biden confront this crisis head on. And together, we passed the most comprehensive relief package in our nation's history, the American Rescue Plan, which is helping pave the way back for our state. We're getting shots in arms, we're helping people get back to work, and we're strengthening our small businesses while building back our vibrant tourism economy. And I had a chance to shape that bill and make sure it would specifically address the challenges facing Nevada. I secured $750 million so the Economic Development Administration could help states like Nevada that have been especially hurt by the drop in tourism during the pandemic. Funds that can support our outdoor recreation industry in particular. I also worked to make sure that we extended and expanded the employee retention tax credit so the hardest hit businesses like those in Nevada could access it. And I pushed for $2 billion in funding to help modernize unemployment insurance systems across the country and speed up the delivery of benefits to those in need. I also worked to secure more than $18 billion across all relief packages for quality broadband access, which has been a key priority for me since coming to the Senate. That funding allowed the Silver State to bring school online for students in every corner of the state. And to protect the many workers in our hospitality industry with good benefits, I made sure that the relief package included 100% subsidy, so unemployed or furloughed workers could stay on their insurance through COBRA. This was a big priority for people like Mario Sandoval, a union member and cancer survivor who lost his job in Las Vegas during the pandemic. Mario would have faced COBRA costs of $885 a month without subsidies for the insurance that covered his life-saving medication. Mario and so many others needed federal help, and I was proud to help secure it for him. And I have to tell you, from the start of this pandemic, one message has been clear from both state and local government leaders in Nevada: we need help. To ensure that Nevada and other states could keep educators, healthcare workers, and first responders on the job, I worked with colleagues to make sure that the legislation included funds to support state and local governments, including nearly $4 billion for Nevada, $155 million of that for our rural towns and counties alone, which have been priorities for me. We all understand that there's more work to be done to make sure this and other relief gets used wisely to invest in our people and our economy and to spark a meaningful recovery. Clark County has faced a devastating suicide crisis. And as I know from talking with students in Washoe County earlier in May, mental health challenges continue to affect students in every corner of our state. The stress of the pandemic has had an impact not just on students, but on seniors as well, and every age group in between. I hear it in nearly every conversation I have with Nevadans, no matter what we're meeting about. So I am leading efforts in the Senate to make sure we're listening to these voices and getting them the care they need. Nevadans continue to feel the effects of this pandemic. They've told me. And it's going to take all of us to support them. I'm proud to partner with you to help do that over the coming years. I trust you to tell me where we're falling short, as well as where we're excelling. And I trust that you'll bring this same commitment to Nevadans and willingness to find common ground to your own remaining work. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a productive rest of your session.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank Governor Sisolak, Lieutenant Governor Marshall, members of the State Supreme Court, Majority Leader Cannizzaro, Speaker Frierson, Minority Leaders Settlemeyer and Hardy, all of the constitutional officers, and all of the members of our Nevada State Senate and Assembly for giving me this opportunity to speak with you today. Before I begin, I would like to recognize Assembly Speaker Jason Frierson for the work he's done to raise awareness for prostate cancer, an all too common health issue, one that is not discussed enough and one that has affected him personally. Thank you for your bravery in sharing your personal story. By raising awareness, Speaker Frierson is helping to combat this deadly disease and inspiring Nevadans across our communities to receive checkups and protect their health. Mr. Speaker, I know I speak for everyone when I say thank you, and we are here for you on your journey and hoping for a full recovery. It is truly an honor to represent our great state of Nevada in the United States Senate, and it is a privilege to speak to you tonight. 2 years ago, when I last addressed a joint session of our state's legislature, I came to discuss the history-making progress we had achieved. We'd become the first ever state to elect a female majority legislature, and I'm proud to say that since then, Nevada's female majority legislature has grown. I know that the women and men in our state's legislature will continue to achieve great things and help us to overcome the challenges we face. Because over the last year, Nevada has unfortunately seen turbulent times which have put the Silver State's resilience to the test. Before COVID, Nevada's economy wasn't just stable, it was thriving. Unemployment was at near historic lows, and we were working to do right by Nevada's families and the communities that make up our state. We were building up cutting-edge industries in areas like technology, advanced manufacturing, and clean energy, bringing companies and good-paying jobs to our state. We were taking steps to invest in our education and in our health. People were coming to Nevada to find work, to build businesses, to make a life for themselves, to start families, and build community. But as the pandemic hit, our state suffered. We all suffered. Over the last year, we've seen hard-working Nevadans who, through no fault of their own, have been left to worry about where their next paycheck will come from, if they'll be able to pay their bills, if they'll be able to keep a roof over their heads, and if they'll be able to put food on the table. Over the last year, we've seen Nevada businesses, the lifeblood of our community, forced to make impossible decisions just to get by, and some have sadly had to close their doors permanently. During the pandemic's peak, we saw nearly 30% unemployment, the highest rate in our state's history. We've also seen hospitals, doctors' offices, medical facilities, frontline workers, and essential workers pushed to the brink. More than 300,000 Nevadans have tested positive for COVID, with some facing health impacts that may last a lifetime as a result. Sadly, we've seen this and so much more. Most heartbreaking of all is the many lives, the loved ones we've lost to COVID-19. Over 5,400 Nevadans have been taken from us. Moms and dads, sons and daughters, siblings and loved ones, friends and neighbors. We grieve both personally and as a community, as a state, as a country. And the world shares in our collective mourning. But we must remain strong and we must remain resilient, because we can honor the lives and the memories of those we have lost by beating this pandemic. COVID-19 has brought so much hardship. It's caused a health and economic crisis. But these are crises that we can and we will overcome together as one Nevada family. In these tough times, state, local, and tribal leaders have worked to mitigate the spread of this virus, to protect Nevadans' health and well-being, and to prevent critical state industries and institutions from failing. From Governor Sisolak to those here today and all those across our state, to those who have been on the front lines of this battle, your commitment to public service and to the people of our state is remarkable. I'm proud to partner with you in our shared goal of protecting the lives and livelihoods of all those we represent in the state we love and are proud to call home. And I'm here to tell you that we are at a turning point in this fight. And I'm here to say that hope and help are on the way. In March, Congress passed the American Rescue Plan, and President Biden signed it into law. This comprehensive relief package has greatly strengthened our efforts to overcome COVID-19. As a result of the American Rescue Plan, Nevadans can expect to see, and are already seeing, direct payments to over 1.8 million Nevada adults and over 750,000 Nevada children. We're seeing extended and enhanced unemployment benefits for over 178,000 Nevadans who lost their jobs due to COVID. We're seeing millions of dollars in emergency rental assistance so that Nevada families, they can keep a roof over their heads. We're seeing Nevadans getting 100% of their COBRA health insurance premiums paid for, something Senator Cortez Masto and I championed. We're seeing funding to cover the cost of PPE for Nevada workers. And we're seeing billions in support for our small businesses and our state's travel, tourism, and hospitality industries, including Nevada gaming businesses, who were finally included in PPP relief after I successfully fought for a change in policy last year. The American Rescue Plan provides over $4.1 billion in funding for Nevada's state and local governments who have exhausted their budgets fighting the pandemic. The American Rescue Plan provides funding for K-12 education in Nevada, and it provides the single largest infusion of dedicated resources to tribal governments and Native communities in United States history. The American Rescue Plan also provides relief to our frontline workers who've been keeping our state running. It supercharges our efforts to ensure that everyone in Nevada is able to receive a vaccine, something that is key to beating this pandemic, which every adult in our state is now eligible to receive. Since the ARP's passage, I've been proud to work with the Biden administration to enhance the aid coming to Nevada, including helping to lift the caps on emergency loans to small businesses from $150,000 to $2 million. And I've worked with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to extend the authorization of the Paycheck Protection Program so that Nevada's small businesses can continue to get relief. I'm proud to have helped secure this aid for the Silver State, but we cannot stop here. We must continue our work to see that every Nevadan has the resources they need to get through this pandemic. We must take steps to ensure that we can fully reopen our state safely, and we must keep up the fight to defeat this disease. That means making sure that our children can go back in person to school and receive a quality education in our state. Not only does the American Rescue Plan help to do this, but I've recently joined my colleagues in urging increased federal funding to see that this happens. But we can't stop there. We must address the health disparities that have long existed in our health system, which COVID-19 has shined a new light on. It's time to ensure that underserved communities in our state, in our urban and rural communities, receive the access to care that they need and deserve. It also means making fixes at the federal level to support, enhance, and upgrade our unemployment system so that we can get benefits out swiftly and accurately to those who need it the most. We cannot simply rebuild our state as it was before. We must build Nevada back and then continue building it up towards new and greater heights. We can take steps to revolutionize workplace safety and restore consumer confidence. We can make smart investments in our infrastructure, investments that increase our clean energy use and decrease our commute times. We can develop a workforce that is highly skilled and highly employable for the jobs of the 21st century. We can support traditional Nevada industries and encourage new economic diversity in our state. Through bold ideas and actions, we can better the lives of every man, woman, and child who calls Nevada home. I know we can accomplish these things and so much more because we are innovative and imaginative. We are battle-born, and it would be a mistake for anyone to bet against us. Together, whether we're Democrats, Republicans, or independents, we are all, each of us, Nevadans. Together, we can and we will chart a path forward for our state. Nevada's future is bright, and by working together, we will all have a hand in building and shaping Nevada's future. So now let's get to work. Thank you. God bless Nevada, and God bless the United States of America.
Well, thank you, Speaker Frierson and Leader Cannizzaro, for inviting me to speak with all of you today. Although, of course, I wish I could be with you in person in Carson City. I want to recognize the staff behind the scenes, the Legislative Council Bureau, committee staff, the Sergeant of Arms, everyone who has managed to keep the ship running despite the extraordinarily difficult circumstance. And, of course, I want to take a moment to remember Robin Bates, the Sergeant of Arms for the Nevada Assembly, who died of COVID-19 as the session began. Robin Bates is one of more than 5,500 Nevadans who lost their lives due to COVID-19. This has been such a tough year for everyone in this country, and I want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you've done to help keep Nevada families afloat, even while caring for your own families and communities in midst of this pandemic. You all have shown true perseverance and have acted nimbly. And like all of you, crushing the COVID-19 pandemic has been my #1 priority over the past year. And we're making tremendous progress because of our work both on the state and the federal level. More than 2 million Nevadans have been vaccinated now. Cases have fallen dramatically. Kids are back in schools, and we're getting people back to work. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And in Washington, we passed multiple relief bills that included SBA loans for our small businesses, and the American Rescue Plan has kickstarted our economy, especially our travel and tourism economy in Southern Nevada. But all of you went above and beyond. You saw Nevadans suffering, and you stepped up to the plate implementing state-run relief programs too, like the Pandemic Emergency Technical Support Grant Program, also known as PETS grants. These grants, alongside federal relief, have kept so many small businesses and restaurants open. Another key provision of the American Rescue Plan was the direct aid to state and local governments. As our travel and tourism economy came to a halt last year, the state of Nevada was facing a massive budget shortfall of $500 million. But now, more than $4 billion is going to state and local governments here in Nevada to make up for these budget shortfalls and prevent layoffs to key workers like our teachers and our first responders. And because our state was hit so hard, it really showed the importance of diversifying our economy, especially in Southern Nevada. While there's much more to be done, we're on the right track though. The UNLV School of Medicine just held its graduation for its first ever graduating class. This is a huge step for our region. Nevada has consistently ranked among the lowest rates of doctors per capita, and before this class, Las Vegas was the largest metropolitan area in the nation without a medical school capable of bestowing MD degrees. These graduates are pioneers in providing for the health of our communities. But of course, there's so much more to be done to diversify our economy and rebuild from this pandemic stronger than ever. And that's why I'm excited about the President's proposed American Jobs Plan, which will be a priority for us in Washington over the next few months. A key piece of the American Jobs Plan is investment in renewable energy. And Nevada is, of course, already a leader in renewable energy with more than 33,000 Nevadans working in the field. And the American Jobs Plan would create even more good-paying union jobs by extending and expanding tax credits for clean energy generation, carbon capture, and more. Clean energy, building roads and bridges, building schools, investing in broadband, all of this will help diversify our economy and rebuild stronger than ever. And as we think about diversifying our economy, we absolutely must prioritize investment in education. After all, education is the real key to diversifying our economy. And speaking of education, I'm incredibly proud of our newest National Teacher of the Year, Nevadans' very own Juliana Urtubey. After meeting Juliana, I came back to Washington reinvigorated and more ready than ever to fight for our educators and our students. We have a lot of ground to make up. While our teachers have done an incredible job at adapting to distance learning, we know that for so many students, it simply did not work. Our most disadvantaged students have undoubtedly suffered tremendous learning loss. And that's why I was so proud to support SB 173, the Back on Track Act, led by Senator Marilyn Dondero-Loop. This bill, which would be paid for with American Rescue Plan funds, would provide free summer school to K-12 students, helping them make up for lost learning time during this pandemic. I came to Congress to champion education. Earlier this year, I teamed up with my colleague in the Senate, Senator Van Hollen, to reintroduce the Keep Our Pact Act. This bill would fully fund Title I and Individuals with Disability Education Act, IDEA, on a mandatory basis over the next 10 years. This funding is a critical tool to ensure that every child, no matter their zip code or their learning differences, has access to quality education. However, these programs have never been fully funded, and it's simply a disgrace. This has led to an increase in the struggles our schools face: larger class sizes, fewer experienced teachers, and a lack of libraries, science equipment, technology, mental health resources, and guidance counselors, just to name a few. And speaking of mental health, we must continue to prioritize mental health as primary health care, and not just during this pandemic. I was proud to work with Senator Catherine Cortez Masto to introduce the Virtual Peer Support Act, which would boost the capacity and accessibility of behavioral health support programs by helping service providers expand their services to online platforms. And while COVID relief and education have been my priorities, there's certainly so much more to be done. With my new role on the Appropriations Committee, sitting on the Energy and Water Subcommittee, I will fight tooth and nail to ensure that Yucca Mountain does not become the nation's dumping ground for nuclear waste. In fact, in a recent hearing, I spoke with Energy Secretary Granholm about this very issue, and she committed to consent-based alternatives to Yucca Mountain. But of course, we need to end the fight over Yucca Mountain once and for all. And that's why I'm co-chairing the Bipartisan Nuclear Waste Caucus, so we can come together to determine more long-term solutions to storing our country's nuclear waste. And as the Las Vegas Valley continues to grow, I'm also working to find common ground to conserve our pristine desert habitats while also allowing for much-needed development. I was proud to work with the rest of the Nevada federal delegation to introduce the Clark County Lands Bill, which will do just that. I'm also working to pass stronger gun laws to keep our communities safe. Here in Nevada, we know the horror of gun violence all too well. The House has passed gun safety laws that are supported by the vast majority of the American people. Now we are waiting on the Senate to muster up the courage to act on those bills. And of course, no one is a greater champion for gun safety than our very own Assemblywoman, Sandra Hadigay, who is always fighting to make Nevada safer for all of us. Nevada continues to be a leader in this country thanks to all of your hard work and determination. Not to mention, the Nevada State Legislature was the first ever state legislature to be majority female. I'm sure that doesn't hurt when it comes to getting things done. It's because of Nevada's leadership and our diversity that I believe Nevada should get to vote first when it comes to presidential elections. Nevada deserves to be the new first in the nation. And let me close by saying this. I believe in Nevada. I believe in the grit and determination of our hardworking men and women across this great state, the nurses and healthcare workers, casino employees, and small business owners. I believe in our kids, our most precious resource coming out of virtual learning and headed on the right track to a better education. We can ensure a brighter future for our kids by getting their teachers and school leaders the resources they need to succeed. And I believe we will come out of this pandemic stronger than ever. It's going to take hard work, but I have no doubt that we stand ready to meet the challenge because as Nevadans, we always rise to the occasion. Thank you for everything you are doing to make the state a better home for all of us in the years to come.
Assemblyman Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Senate and Assembly in joint session extend a vote of thanks to Senators Catherine Cortez Masto and Jackie Rosen and Congresswoman Susie Lee for their timely, able, and constructive messages.
Does she not have them? Okay. You heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Titus.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the joint session of the Senate and Assembly be dissolved.
You've heard that motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I declare the joint session dissolved. One more time. The Assembly will come back to order And I will give my Majority Leader just a second. I do believe that we have 7 messages from the Senate. Order of business 7 messages from the Senate.
Senate Chamber, Carson City, May 18, 2021. To the Honorable the Assembly, I have the honor to inform the Honorable Body that the Senate on this day passed Senate Bills 410, 411, 412, 413, 414, 418, 423, 425, 426, 427, 429, 431, 432, 433, 434, 435, 436, 438, 444, 443, 444. And I have the honor to inform the Honorable Body that the Senate on this day passed as amended Senate Bills 415, 428. And I have the honor to inform the Honorable Body that the Senate on this day concurred in Assembly Amendment 501 to Senate Bill 9. Sherry Rodriguez, Assistant Secretary of the Senate.
We can go to order of business. I want to go to order of business 9. Introductions, first reading, reference to bills.
Senate Bill 410, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Central Repository for Nevada Records of Criminal History within the Records Communications and Compliance Division of the Department of Public Safety for the modernization program for the Nevada Criminal Justice Information System and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 411, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to the Division of Parole and Probation and the Investigation Division of the Department of Public Safety for the replacement of computer hardware and software and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 412, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the State Department of Agriculture for new laboratory equipment and maintenance contracts related to veterinary medical services and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 413, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Nevada Gaming Control Board for the continuing costs of replacement of its information system and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 414, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Department of Taxation for the continuing costs of the modernization of the Unified Tax System as part of Project MYNT and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 415, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Department of Taxation for the relocation and consolidation of the 2 offices in the Las Vegas Valley into 1 office in Southern Nevada and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 418, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Budget Division of the Office of Finance and the Office of the Governor for the continuation of the Nevada Executive Budget System Upgrade Project and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 423, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act relating to the taxation of property, requiring the Department of Taxation to retain a commission as compensation for the costs of collecting property taxes on certain property of an interstate or intercounty nature and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 425, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making a supplemental appropriation to the Division of Internal Audits of the Office of Finance and the Office of the Governor for an unanticipated shortfall related to payroll and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 426, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Office of Finance and the Office of the Governor as a loan for the replacement of the content management and portal platform and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 427, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to the Division of Child and Family Services of the Department of Health and Human Services for deferred maintenance projects at certain facilities and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 428, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to the Nevada Highway Patrol Division of the Department of Public Safety for the replacement of vehicles and motorcycles and certain equipment and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 429, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making a supplemental appropriation to the Office of the Attorney General for a projected shortfall related to extradition costs and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 431, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to and authorizing expenditures of money by the Nevada Supreme Court for the replacement of computer hardware and software and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 432, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to and authorizing expenditures by the Office of the Military for maintenance projects at certain facilities and the replacement of computer hardware and software, certain equipment and shop tools, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 433, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to the Division of Public and Behavioral Health of the Department of Health and Human Services for maintenance and repairs and the replacement of certain equipment at certain facilities operated by the division that provide mental health services and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 434, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making an appropriation to the Office of Finance in the Office of the Governor for the construction of a medical school at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 435, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making appropriations to the Office of Finance in the Office of the Governor for the costs associated with the replacement of the Advantage Financial and Human Resources System with the Enterprise Resource Planning System and furnishings for the Operations Center for the system, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 436, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act relating to administrative assessments, repealing the prospective expiration of a provision revising the distribution of certain money collected from certain administrative assessments, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 438, introduced by the Committee on Natural Resources, an act relating to food, providing that the State Department of Agriculture adopts by reference certain federal regulations requiring the department to perform certain inspections to ensure compliance with such federal regulations, requiring the state quarantine officer to issue certain orders in certain situations, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 443, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act relating to agriculture, defining certain terms that apply to standards that govern seeds, revising the definition of certifying agency, requiring certain containers of seeds to bear or have attached a sell-by date which contains certain information, requiring containers for seeds of agricultural crops to include certain additional information if the seeds are coded, and providing other matters properly thereto. Senate Bill 444, introduced by the Committee on Finance, an act making a supplemental appropriation to the state distributive school account for an unanticipated decrease in revenues from the 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 school years, and providing other matters properly thereto.
Assemblywoman Benitez-Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that all Senate bills be referred to the committee as shown on Senate bill introductions dated May 18, 2021, of which all members have a copy of on their desk.
You heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We will go to order of business 13. There being no objection, the Speaker and the Chief Clerk will sign Assembly Bills 4, 6, 18, 27, 30, 31, 33, 34, 43, 54, 60, 64, 72, 74, 75, 118, 413, 420, 437, and Assembly Joint Resolutions 2, 4, and 10 of the 80th session. We can go to order business 8. Assemblywoman Benitez-Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under Order Business 8, I move that all bills on the general file be taken from today's general file and be placed onto general file for the next legislative day.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I think we can go to order business 15 now. Assemblyman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Order of business 15.
Order business 15.
All right, thank you. Today is a very special day. It is my father's birthday, the original H. Miller, how I got my name, C.H. Miller. And he spent 45 years in the gaming industry. Our cousin, Assemblyman Tyrone Thompson, actually gave him a proclamation from this body on his retirement in 2016. So I'll just share a little bit about him from there. Let's see. 3 lines. 1971, he decided to go to an 8-month training program and became one of the first blacks to be hired to work in table games on the Las Vegas Strip. He's worked at a number of casinos that are iconic: El Cortez, Riviera, not there anymore, the Sahara. He dealt craps and dice. But while at the Sahara, he moved to the game of Baccarat. He actually became the first black Baccarat floor supervisor in Nevada history. He then moved on to the Tropicana, where he worked for 23 years. He became the first black Baccarat pit boss in Nevada history. And arguably, we were unable to confirm, we do believe that he may have been the first black supervisor in table games in Nevada history, but we know these two for sure. He spent 45 years in the gaming industry, and he retired in 2016. That's my dad. It's his birthday, so if we could please give him a wonderful round of applause. Happy birthday, Pops. I just have one more thing. I hope I'm not over my 3 minutes. You guys, I talked about my son on his birthday. Today, you may have seen him running around with me, him and his girlfriend. Her name is Elizabeth. She just graduated from UNR with her political science degree. She actually interned in this session for Senator Joyce Woodhouse. And so let's give her a round of applause as well. She was visiting us today. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Order of Business 15.
Order Business 15.
Today, I rise in celebration of Asian Cultural Day in Nevada. Today, there are nearly 300,000 Asian Pacific Islanders residing in Nevada, each of whom come from a historically rich and colorful background. For myself, I rise in honor of my ancestors and immigrant parents who migrated here from Thailand in the late 1980s. In the last 2 decades in Clark County, Thai immigrants have established 6 Buddhist temples, the Thai Cultural Art Association, the Muay Thai Academy, which is Thai kickboxing for those who don't know, and the Thai Student Association at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The Las Vegas News is a Thai language newspaper that comes out twice a month. One can shop at Thai markets such as the Bangkok Plaza and the Bangkok Market, and Thai restaurants are omnipresent. During Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I hope that each of us take some time to learn about a culture aside from our own and be able to celebrate this month among us. I'm honored to contribute my own experiences as a Thai Latina woman to this chamber as we continue to put forth more inclusive policy. So today, let us celebrate the incredible diversity of our Asian American Pacific Islander community, as well as our significant contributions to this state we call home. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Black.
Mr. Speaker, order of business 15.
Order Business 15.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the Centers for Disease Control has said that those who have had and recovered from the COVID virus have natural immunity and that, quote, current evidence suggests that reinfection with the virus is uncommon. And a week ago, the CDC announced that people who have received the vaccine no longer need to wear masks. Since that announcement, major employers such as Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, Target, CVS, Starbucks, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Best Buy all have announced they will no longer require masks in their stores. In addition, a number of Nevada resorts and casinos have gone mask-free. And yet, the Nevada Legislature continues to insist that everyone wear a mask here in this building unless cloistered alone in their office. This makes no sense, especially since legislators and staff were put at the head of the line for vaccination months ago. Anyone wishing to get vaccinated has had more than enough time to do so. The fact is, the science now says vaccinated individuals no longer need to wear a mask. Dr. Fauci himself stated yesterday that, quote, the chances of getting infected in an indoor setting is extremely low for those who have been vaccinated. Even our own governor has been appearing at public events without a mask for the past week. So it's especially absurd to require masks here on the floor of the assembly where we're not only sufficiently social distance, but separated by plexiglass shields. This isn't following the science, this is political theater. And by insisting that people who have been vaccinated or have had the virus continue to wear masks, we're sending mixed signals to Nevadans and confusing them. This body should lead by example. And that means following the CDC guidance that masks are no longer necessary in this building for those who have been vaccinated or who have already had and recovered from the COVID virus. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I will remind the body that we have passed and have rules, and there are consequences to violating those rules. And so I would recommend that every member read those rules and recognize that the consequences are up to and including the inability to vote or be heard on the floor until the behavior is addressed to the satisfaction of the body. So with that, any other order of business 15th? Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Back to the business of the body, I would move that the Assembly stand adjourned until Wednesday, May 19th, 2021 at the hour of 11:30 a.m.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.